Hi guys, Jay Knowlton here once again, and I just want to start sharing some kind of stories that have also happened to me whilst I'm in Japan. Of course, a lot of people have come to this channel recently because of the visa stuff. However, I did want to make videos about my life. I know some people are going to hear that and think, oh, that's not what I'm here for. Don't worry. If that's not what you're here for, don't worry. You don't need to watch. Recently, there's been some comments to say, like, I don't like how sensationalized your videos are. I completely understand. Don't worry. I know they're sensationalized. I sensationalize them. But the thing is, with YouTube, unless you sensationalize the title, unless you make the thumbnail look weird, sadly, nobody watches. Don't forget, we're competing with thousands and thousands of videos that are getting uploaded every single day. So if I can do anything to just stand out a little bit, I got to do what I got to do. The game is the game. So I apologize if my thumbnails look a little bit whack or the titles might be a little bit, a bit silly. But please, I hope the contents of the videos will be enough to keep you coming. And if not, don't worry. I'm not offended. Just don't write stupid comments. Anyway, so this is something that happened a few weeks ago, and I think it's the only time I think I've ever lost my cool in public in 13 years of living in Japan. And it happened in Tokyo, in Odaiba. And the title of the video is going to be like, I got into a fight in Japan. And I was very, very close, I think. The person I almost got into another fight with was another foreigner, actually. So what happened was my wife and my daughter were going to Odaiba just to hang out. They've got some summer events going on there, and it's got some cool shopping malls, Joypolis. And I volunteered, like, oh, do you want me to? I can drive you there. I've got nothing else to do on a Sunday. It's either I just look at my laptop screen, or I can just leave the house for a couple of hours. So Odaiba from my house is about 35 minutes if the traffic's good. So I was like, okay, I'll drive you there. And we had quite a few thunderstorms. And actually, as we almost got to Odaiba, a thunderstorm started again, and it started going absolutely mental, to the point where, when your windscreen wipers just basically like, it was that bad. However, we got to Odaiba. There's a Lawson right next to Diver City Mall, which has like a 30-minute limit you can stay for free. Not connected to, it's next to the Lawson. It's not Lawson's car park. So I pulled up to Lawson and I parked my car. And then another car came next to me. It was a rental, and it was driving very, very badly. I don't want to say too like straight, but it was very bad driving and very bad parking. I was honestly scared that the car was going to hit my car while it was parked. So the guy parked, and it was a youngish guy, plus I'm guessing his parents. And first of all, the mother got out the car, and remember, it's a thunderstorm, so she also got her umbrella, but she looked like she was moving kind of weird, kind of slow. And I don't mean weird as in like in a bad way, but I'm guessing because she was old, it was a bit difficult to move. And as she opened the door, I was looking in the mirror, and it was so close to hitting my car. I'm talking like a slither of that. And as she was getting out, I heard like a dong, and my wife was like, "Did something just hit the car?" I was like, "I'm not sure. I don't think so. It didn't sound too bad, and I didn't feel anything." So I kind of let it go, and the mum kind of got out, and then the dad got out as well. And the guy, who I'm gonna just refer to as the son, started helping the dad, and he couldn't walk very well. And as they were walking, there was the car park and then like a big space you can walk. But for some reason, they decided to walk like basically next to my car at the back. And suddenly there was just a massive dong on my car. And this time I could feel it. And obviously I could hear it. And I could see in my mirror, the rear view mirror, that the dad was like lying on my car. And I was like, oh my God. So I rushed out of the car because they started walking away. Even though the fact that they just hit my car, they started walking away. So I was like, "Hey, what are you doing? You just hit my car." I was like, "No, no, no, we didn't. We didn't hit your car." And immediately, like, his Japanese was very odd. Like, this is gonna sound like, I don't know how best to describe this. If you've ever heard like a Vietnamese person or somewhere like that speak Japanese, then that's kind of what it sounded like. And if you know, you know. But he sounded like he spoke Japanese, but it wasn't. I didn't know he wasn't Japanese at the beginning. And he was like, "Oh, we didn't hit it. Bitsukatenai." And I was like, "You did, because my car literally shook." And then he pointed to like, there's like concrete slabs in car parking spaces, so your rear tires know when to stop. And he said, "No, no, no. We kicked this. We kicked this." And I was like, "Well, first of all, I kicked it, and it just makes a little, and not really any big sounds." I was like, "Then I also, my car shook." And I saw your dad on the back of my window. And he was like, "No, no, we didn't do it. We didn't do it." And it was pouring it down with rain. It's a thunderstorm. And I didn't have an umbrella. So I was like dripping. And my wife got out of the car and she had an umbrella. And this is where I started to get frustrated. I was like, "You just hit my car. Like, I saw it. My car has cameras on it. I know you just hit it. So why are you lying?" Like, because I couldn't, because obviously it was raining so hard, I couldn't actually see if there was any damage, because I could barely open my eyes, the rain was that strong. And then he was like, "Oh no, I think the umbrella hit your car." I was like, "But that's worse, because the umbrella might scratch my car." A human body, I don't know, maybe that's less likely to damage a car. So this is where I was getting really pissed off, because, like, I'm sure it was an accident. Like, obviously, the dad couldn't walk very well. But at the same time, if it is an accident, even if it's an accident, you can't just leave and pretend you didn't do it. Like, if I slipped and my elbow hit a window and cracked it, like, I still have to take care of that. I still have to apologize and say, I could have been more careful. I've got to cover the cost of your window. But these guys were adamant that they didn't do it. Actually, the dad didn't say or do anything at all. He kind of just stood there gormless. And this is where I was getting really pissed off. I got in his face. I was like, "I know you're effing lying. You hit my car. There's cameras on my car. So if you're gonna keep lying, you could, because if you've damaged my car, I'm sorry, you've got to pay for it. Like, this is a brand new car, and you've got to pay for it." And he was like, "Oh, we didn't hit it." I was like, "Okay, well, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to call the police, because you can't just leave after damaging my car. Also, you've got a rental parked right there. I could just take picture of the rental and then send an email to them and find out who you are. Not find out who you are, but connect with the police at least." But then he finally said, "I'm sorry, I hit your car." And then it kind of like that pissed me off more, because I was like, "I know you hit my car. Why did you lie so much?" I just said to him, like, "Look, I'm sorry, like, I know you hit my car, and I told you there's cameras on my car. The car shook physically, and I know it was probably an accident, but you can't just start lying." Like, it kind of gets into this whole thing, like, I'm a foreigner, so I'm not necessarily judging him for being a foreigner. But if that was a Japanese person, whether it's right or wrong, if a foreigner hits their car and starts lying about it, their impression, that might be their only communication ever with a foreigner. It's Odaiba, so maybe not, but their impression of foreigners is going to be they lie, they do bad things, and then they just escape any responsibility. So yeah, so I asked him, like, "Please give me your phone number, tell me your name." And he got his residence card out. He was from Myanmar. He was on one of those technical trainee visas just for a year. And yeah, we got his number, but then I made sure to call the number before we left to make sure he hadn't given a fake number. And I was like, "Look, I need to check the car. I'm going to go to a nearby parking lot and check. If something's up, I'm going to contact you, and then we're going to figure this out." And then he was like, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." And I was like, "Yep, thank you for saying sorry. Next time, don't lie in the future." And then he left. And then I kind of went to check my car, but then came back to the parking lot because it was raining so hard that the entrance to the shopping mall was flooded. So my wife and daughter came back, and he and his dad also came back. But instead of going in the car the normal way, he made the dad get in the driver's seat and climb over the car, which is not a good idea for a rental because I think they were so scared about accidentally hitting my car again that they didn't want to get it. Luckily, I got home and there was no problem with the car. But it was very, very frustrating because, it's something that could be easily solved by just saying, sorry, what can we do? Rather than just lying on top of lying on top of lying. And with all these things going on in Japan, the fact that a foreigner from like kind of another, I guess it's like a lower economic Asian country, if that was a Japanese person who had had that confrontation, it's kind of fueling, it's kind of one more person on the kind of right wing anti foreigner checklist. So we don't want that to happen as well. But guys, have you ever got into like confrontations or arguments or fights in Japan? Please let me know. Thanks all for watching, and I'll see you next time.